Hey everyone, Sebastian here, back again with another video from Bluebook Test 1, Reading and Writing Module 1, this time question 12, which I like because, there's a word for it, a dozen. It's also twice the 6, which I've already told you is a number I'm a fan of. And so I'm feeling good about it. Let's try it out. It's another command of evidence question, as you can see, because there's a beautiful chart here. So let's try it out. There's no blank this time, though, so a little different. Let's see. When hibernating, Alaska marmots and Arctic ground squirrels enter a state called torpor, which minimizes the energy their bodies need to function. Often, a hibernating animal will temporarily come out of torpor, called an arousal period, and its metabolic rate will rise, burning more of the precious energy the animal needs to survive the winter. Alaska marmots hibernate in groups and therefore burn less energy keeping warm during these episodes than they would if they were alone. A researcher hypothesized that because Arctic ground squirrels hibernate alone, they would likely exhibit longer bouts of torpor and shorter arousal episodes than Alaska marmots. Which choice best describes the data from the table that supports the research hypothesis? So they even use the word hypothesized, right, which is a nice flag for us. So they hypothesized that Arctic ground squirrels, because they hibernate alone, they would exhibit longer bouts of torpor and shorter arousal periods than Alaska marmots. So we'll look at our answer choices and see which ones are accurate to the data, right? So which ones are just factually true. And then if they're factually true, which ones support the hypothesis, right? So A, the Alaska marmots' arousal periods lasted for days, while the Arctic ground squirrels' arousal periods lasted less than a day. Okay, so the Alaska marmots' arousal periods lasted for days, while the Arctic ground squirrels' arousal periods lasted less than a day. And that's not true, right? Duration of each episode. So I think that's where they last for days, right? This is less than a day, less than a day. So I'm thinking it's not A. That just seems wrong. So I'm going to put an X there. B, the Alaska marmots and the Arctic ground squirrels both maintained torpor for several consecutive days per bout on average. Okay. So per bout, they both maintained torpor for several consecutive days. Okay, that's true. But does that support the statement, right? We will come back to that. So then we'll keep that one alive. Then C, the Alaska marmots had shorter torpor bouts and longer arousal periods than the Arctic ground squirrels did. Okay, had shorter torpor bouts and longer arousal periods. So that's true, right? They had shorter torpor and they had longer arousal. Okay, so that's true. But is that going to be, does that help the hypothesis? We'll come back to that. And then D, the Alaska marmots had more torpor bouts than arousal periods, but their arousal periods were much shorter than their torpor bouts. So more torpor bouts than arousal periods for the Alaska marmots. Their torpor bouts occurred more than arousal episodes, I mean. Okay, but their arousal episodes were much shorter than their torpor bouts. That's also true. Okay, so everything is true except for A. So we're just trying to find what supports the hypothesis, right? And the hypothesis is that they exhibited longer bouts of torpor and shorter arousal episodes than Alaska marmots. So all we care about is comparing squirrels to marmots, not marmots themselves. So it's not going to be D, right? Because that was only focused on Alaska marmots. C, the Alaska marmots had shorter torpor bouts and longer arousal episodes than Arctic ground squirrels. And the hypothesis was that the Arctic ground squirrels had longer bouts of torpor and shorter arousal episodes. And that's the same as saying that Alaska had shorter torpor and longer arousal, right? So C looks like a strong candidate. I'll put plus for it, and then we'll check B. The Alaska marmots and the Arctic ground squirrels both maintained torpor for several consecutive days per bout on average. So that's just showing how they're the same. It's not really showing how they're different. So it doesn't support the hypothesis about how Arctic ground squirrels, because they hibernate alone, would have longer bouts of torpor and shorter arousal periods, right? So the only one that supports that is C. And they just sort of flip the phrasing there, right? Here they're saying Arctic is shorter arousal and longer torpor. And here they're saying Alaska is shorter torpor and longer arousal. So they're just sort of trying to trick us with this little switch, but we're not going to let them trick us, okay? We're going to get C. Even just by eliminating the other ones, we could get C. But if we focus on it, we can see how C ties in with the hypothesis. And it's just the hypothesis phrased in a different way. And it ties in with the data here, right? So again, I broke down each question. Each question you can almost see has two parts to it. And sometimes each part has two parts. So it's almost like you can break them down into 4 little pieces. And it's easier to work with little pieces than big ones. So if you have any questions, let me know. And I hope it's sunny where you are. And if it's raining, I hope it is cleaning your windows and watering your plants. Bye.